All right, this is part 3 of section 2.2. Continue with this checking our answer. So I'm going to take 5 and then multiply and then flip that fraction. Minus 1, multiply, flip that bottom fraction. Notice I've got two negatives, negative here and negative here. They will cancel out, become a positive. So I have 6 times 9 over 35 when I flip that fraction. Okay, so now what I have is 15 over 7 minus 3 over 5 is equal to 54 over 35. Our LCD is 35, so we'll multiply 35 times each term. Cancel out the 7, left with a 5. Cancel out the 5s, I'm left with a 7. Cancel out the 35s. So now I have 5 times 15 minus 7 times 3 is equal to 54. So then I have 75 minus 21 equal to 54. And 54 is equal to 54. So that means that x equals 4 over 3 was our answer for this equation. Okay, let's take a look at this one. We have an x plus 1, x minus 1, and then x squared minus 1. Now recall, if you have a squared minus b squared, that's the same thing as a plus b times a minus b. Okay, now I can take the 2 over x plus 1 minus 1 over x minus 1 equal to 2x. Now I can write this as x squared minus 1 squared, because 1 squared is still just 1. So here, our a is x and our b is 1. So we have x plus 1, x minus 1. Now from here we can see that our LCD is x plus 1 times x minus 1. So x plus 1, x minus 1 over 1 times 2 over x plus 1 minus x plus 1, x minus 1 all over 1 times 1 over x minus 1 is equal to 2x, or actually x plus 1, x minus 1 all over 1 times 2x over x plus 1, x minus 1. Then start canceling out where you can. Okay, so I have x minus 1 times 2 minus x plus 1 times 1 equal to 2x. Now, I'm going to distribute this 2 to this x and to this 1. So I have 2x minus 2. Distribute this negative. It's like a negative 1 in front of it. So distribute this negative 1 to this x and to this 1. Be careful of that. So negative x minus 1 is equal to 2. Okay, and then clean up just a little bit. Combine these x values. So that will be x. Combine these constants. That'll be negative 3 is equal to 2x. Come over here. So then I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So negative 3 is equal to x. But again, we've got to check our answer real quick. So this will be 2 over negative 3 plus 1 minus 1 over negative 3 minus 1 equal to 2 times negative 3. Negative 3 squared minus 1. So 2 over negative 2 minus 1 over negative 4 equal to negative 6 over positive 9 minus 1. This will be negative 1. This will be positive 1/4. This will be negative 6 over, looks like 8. Negative 1 plus 1/4 is equal to, I'm going to take 2 out of both of those. So that will be 3 over 4. Okay, the only thing I need to change is that 1. I'll change that to 4 over 4 plus 1 over 4, negative 3 over 4. So negative 4 plus 1 over 4. So that would be negative 3 over 4 is equal to negative 3 over 4. So that checks out. So that means that x equals negative 3 is our final answer for this equation. Okay, now let's look at this one. Notice 6x minus 36 and x minus 6. Notice I can take a 6 out of this one. So this would be x over 6. I'm left with x minus 6, which is the same thing over here. Minus 9, I'm going to put that over 1, is equal to 1 over x minus 6. So our LCD is 6x minus 6. So 6x minus 6 over 1 times x over 6x minus 6 minus 6x minus 6 over 1 times 9 over 1 is equal to 6x minus 6 over 1 times 1 over x minus 6. Then go through and start canceling. 6's cancel, x minus 6 cancel, nothing cancels here, and x minus 6 cancels there. So I'm left with x minus, go ahead and multiply the 6 times the 9, 54 times x minus 6 is equal to, looks like just 6. Then I'm going to distribute this, I'll go ahead and distribute the negative 54 to both the x and to the 6. So x minus 54x plus 324 is equal to 6. I'm going to move that 324 over and go ahead and clean that up. That's going to be negative 53x is equal to negative 318. Divide by negative 53. And that gives us x is equal to 6. Now we need to plug that in before we say that's our answer. Okay, we have 6 over 6 times 6 minus 36 minus 9 is equal to 1 over 6 minus 6. So we have 6 over 36 minus 36 minus 9 is equal to 1 over 0. 6 over 0 minus 9 equals 1 over 0. Now we have issues right here with the 6 over 0 and the 1 over 0 because any number divided by 0, that is going to be undefined. Okay, so when we run into this case right here, the only solution that we had was x equals 6. We plugged it in, it's not working. So what we have is no solution. And also what we could have done with each of these cases that we looked at is we could have set 6x minus 36 equal to 0. We set it equal to 0 because that's the thing that we don't want it to be because the 6x minus 36 is in the denominator. So we would get 6x equal to 36 divided by 6, x equal to 6, so x cannot be 6, otherwise the denominator will be 0. Same thing with the x minus 6, set it equal to 0, it equals 6, it cannot be equal to 6. We could have done the same thing for each of these. Could take an x plus 1, set it equal to 0. Well, we know x cannot be negative 1. Then take this, x minus 1, set it equal to 0. X cannot be 1. Remember, this was a combination of these two together, so you'd come out with x cannot be negative 1, x cannot be 1. Same thing, you can go through all of these and set each one of these equal to 0. That's what the x values cannot be. And if it happens to come out, and that's the only solution that you have, then you have no solution. All right, now let's talk about the slope of a line. So we represent the slope of a line with lowercase m right here. And let's talk about the change in y over the change in x. So you'll have 2 points. You can call one of them x sub 1, y sub 1, and the other one x sub 2, y sub 2. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put it into this formula here, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 and over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which we also call the rise over run, because in your rectangular system here, that's a y. y2 minus y1, if, say these are our points, x1, y1, x sub 2, y sub 2, then y, the distance between y is just the horizontal part, so that's the rise, and then the distance between the x values, that is the run part. So in the equation, y equals mx plus b, m is the slope and b is the x-intercept. So remember, if you have a graph that goes over your y-axis, I think I said x-intercept, I meant y-intercept, right here, that would be the value of b, because that graph is intercepting the y-axis, so that's the y-intercept. So how you read this is y is equal to the slope times x plus the y-intercept. Now these are the types of slope. Notice this one right here. This will give you a positive slope. It's rising up. Over here you've got a negative slope. It's going down. Now here you have a zero slope. The reason is, if we look at this point and this point, so that is 1, 2. This one is negative 1, 2. Now if we use, say this is x sub 1, this is y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So y sub 2, 2, minus y sub 1, 2, over x sub 2, 1, minus a negative 1. So you have a 0 on top, 2 on the bottom. So this will be equal to 0. So your slope would be equal to 0. Now an undefined slope, let's take a look at this point and this point. So this would be 2, 1. This would be 2, negative 1. So the slope for this one would be, we'll say that this is x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So negative 1 minus 1 all over 2 minus 2. So negative 2 in the top, 0 in the bottom. This would be undefined. Okay, so if you have a vertical line, it will be undefined. If you have a horizontal line, it will be a 0 slope. Okay, so find the slope that passes through the points negative 2, 6, and 1 and 4. Now it doesn't matter if we call this x sub 1, y sub 1, or this one x sub 1, y sub 1. Doesn't matter. We'll call this one x sub 2, y sub 2 though. Okay, so m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Y sub 2 is 4 minus 6 over 1 minus negative 2. So 4 minus 6, that is negative 2. This is 1 plus 2, so this is negative 2 over 3. And that's your slope. Okay, now let's take a look at this right here. So we're going to graph it, but we're not going to use a t-table. We're actually going to try to put it into y equals mx plus b form. So in order to do that, I need to solve this for y. So 5y minus 10x minus 15, going to add 10 to both sides. Oops. 10x to both sides. So 5y is equal to 10x minus 15. Then I'll divide every term by 5. So y is equal to 2x minus 3. Okay, so how I'm going to graph this is I'm going to plot the y-intercept first.